So we need to talk about it. We're going to talk it through with trial lawyer and legal analyst Richard Schoenstein. Richard, thank you very much for being here. Were you surprised?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised because I've assumed that there were plea discussions going on. There always should be plea discussions going on in cases like this. And right before trial is a prime time a case can settle. So I wasn't expecting it necessary, Laura, but I won't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, and you listen, speculation about this possible plea really ramped up earlier this week when we learned about the emergency hearing set for Friday, because that emergency hearing request came from both sides. It came from prosecutors and the defense. It was a joint request. So everybody said, whoa, wait a minute, this could mean something. What do you think changed? And we've seen this, we just saw it with the Long Island serial killer, Rex Heuermann. The plea came just as things were about to get serious for a trial, but you say that that can happen just before things get started, but we've been talking about this for a long time. Why now?
So the defense throughout this case, and they've done a brilliant job, they've been working to reduce the charges. They got the top charges in both the federal and state cases removed. They've worked to exclude evidence. They were somewhat successful, but not entirely successful. They've really done a good job for the defendant here. But approaching trial, they probably had to face the fact that it was going to be really difficult to overcome the proof that this defendant is the person who pulled the trigger and killed Brian Thompson. And so their strategy shifts. They can't avoid that even on a reasonable doubt argument. They have to focus on reducing the sentence as much as possible. And I think what they've come to is a strategy here where they plead guilty to the federal charges, setting forth a sentencing hearing in federal court, and then they're going to try to use that to disable the state prosecution, either by arguing double jeopardy or by strategic moves in the state trial itself.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you about, what this means for the state case, because we have been hearing about double jeopardy. Walk us through what happens when there's a plea in federal court. And by the way, we've been reading that he could change his mind even tomorrow in court, where we're talking about a plea and he can change his mind at the last second, number one. Number two, what does this do to the state case? Explain for us how this can affect it and the whole thing about double jeopardy.
Okay, well, first of all, you're absolutely right. And until it happens in court, we're not really sure it's going to happen. So we're all going to be watching and listening intently tomorrow morning. Assuming he pleads guilty to the federal charges, I expect his defense team to argue that the state charges can't go forward because they charge essentially the same criminal conduct. Now, the prosecution's answer to that in New York is going to be, no, they don't. The federal case is based on stalking, interstate stalking that led to death, and the state court charge is for intentional murder. And I'm sure that the state prosecutors are going to argue those are different charges brought by different sovereigns, and that the resolution of one is not double jeopardy prohibition to proceeding with the other. But that's a legal issue that's going to be hotly contested in the courts.
And lastly, how do you see that playing out? Will that state case go forward?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, I think that that's an open legal issue, and I haven't done every bit of the research required to sort it out. But even if you get past double jeopardy, there's going to be additional pressure on the state prosecutors to settle the case if the federal case is settling. And I think it opens up some strategic moves to Mangione in the trial itself that will leave him better positioned than he would have been if there was a federal case lingering in the background. I think it's a good strategic move by a defendant who didn't have a lot of strategic moves to make.
This has been a wild case from the beginning. I mean, it happened here in New York City. We're going to follow it tomorrow together. Legal analyst Richard Schoenstein, thank you very much.